Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it looks like Cerebras, the NVIDIA AI chip maker, the challenger, has filed for an IPO confidentially. And guess what? Link to my sponsor does have some Cerebras left on the platform. I just checked. And so that's good news. That's another one on the platform heading for IPO. So far we've got Link 2 that's going to IPO this year, or says they are. We've got Circle that filed for an IPO, and now Cerebras, and I'm probably missing one or two as well. So go check it out, linqto.com. Now, crypto execs Tyler Winklevoss and Cameron Winklevoss, the twin brothers who founded crypto exchange Gemini, say they gave $1 million each to the Trump campaign. And I believe they gave it in Bitcoin, if I read correctly. So, moving along. Caitlin Long says, anyone who thinks Biden is letting up on Operation Choke Point 2.0, think again. Apparently this guy has been deplatformed from Stripe, and he runs co-founder of Casa Hodl. So, he has a whole write-up here, but we won't go any further into that. All right, this is Representative French Hill from the DC Blockchain Summit. Listen to this.
Care, I would say.
You mentioned the SEC. Everyone in the room, their favorite regulator, Gary Gensler. Mm-hmm. The SEC, it's no secret, has been using a regulation by enforcement approach as it comes to digital assets. We've seen Uniswap, Consensus, Robinhood, all receive Wells notices in the last few weeks. In this Congress, you have specifically scrutinized the SEC's treatment of the industry, as well as for other disfavored industries.
Yep.
What steps can members of Congress, and I know you're doing it by leading the FIT Act, but what other steps can members of Congress do to strengthen oversight of this regulation by enforcement regime from the SEC?
Well, our oversight committee has asked for all the documentation between the SEC, the commission, Chairman Gensler, his staff, for example, for the period of months or years before the collapse of FTX, to find out why was that situation unraveled before our eyes and we didn't see any engagement of the SEC, whereas a company that like Coinbase that actually went public and had to file an S1 with the SEC was suddenly more scrutinized. I mean, we don't see a parallel situation of equal treatment there. So that investigation's ongoing. And then Congress has been asking tough, pointed questions, both on both sides of the hill. But in the recent debt box case out in Utah, they said they were arbitrary and capricious. They had some other pejorative terms from the federal judge, and ultimately the two attorneys there resigned. So that's, I think, directly related to Congress's scrutiny of the commission and how they've operated in regulation by enforcement. And it's why we pitch to the CFTC and to the SEC and to the Biden administration at large, FIT 21 is responsive. We're removing uncertainty about these questions that you keep bringing up.
That's not the real issue. The legislation's not. The real issue is corruption. And until these individual regulators start having individual repercussions, nothing's going to be fixed. There will be another Gary Gensler come in. Until they have repercussions for intentionally illegal activity, there will be another Gary Gensler, and then another, and then another. So talk is cheap, Congressman. Look at this. This is somebody from Ripple, the new financial system. Watch this. This is a great question that we've asked a lot of times over the last few years, and that is, why do all these people from Wall Street and from Silicon Valley, all these Harvard graduates, why would they go to this little startup called Ripple in San Francisco?
My career as a Democrat first, pro-innovation, pro-consumer protection. And I came to Ripple just shy of 9 months ago. And when I came here, I really had to kick the tires. I had to do the due diligence. Why would someone with my background want to go into crypto after the things that we have seen, right? And I believed in the founder's vision. I believed in the mission of the company. And I saw the value of the innovation and the technology. And I said, I see what this is today. I see what it can be in 5 years, 10 years. I built my career as a Democrat.
I am with you. I see it too. Now, CoinDesk was happy to try to lob this out there yesterday. A California judge has ordered a lawsuit against Ripple alleging that the CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, violated California securities laws by making misleading statements in a 2017 interview to proceed to trial. Now, Ashley Prosper, who is an attorney, is my understanding, corrects the record. Important to note that this is not a new case. This is Zakanoff versus Ripple case in California. The article refers to Judge Hamilton's June 20, 2024 decision regarding Ripple's motion to dismiss, which was granted in part and denied in part. The case now boils down to whether a statement from Brad Garlinghouse made December 14, 2017 on the Business News Network was misleading, or whether that led a sole investor, Bradley Sostak, to expect profits from Ripple efforts. The statement was, I'm long XRP, I'm very long XRP as a percentage of my personal balance sheet. I am not long on some other digital assets because it is not clear to me what's the real utility. What problem are they really solving? If you're solving a real problem, it's a scaled problem, then I think you have a huge opportunity to continue to grow that. We have been really fortunate. Obviously, I remain very, very, very long XRP. Is an expression in the industry hodl instead of hold. It's hodl. I'm on the hodl side. Sostak alleges that the above statement was false when made because throughout 2017, Garlinghouse sold millions of XRP on various cryptocurrency exchanges. In my opinion, that is absolutely weak, but the judge has allowed it to proceed to trial, which I doubt it will get to. Honestly, had Ripple given the judge more than one argument in the matter, the whole case would have been over. But as long as Brad Garlinghouse can show he still holds a significant amount of XRP, easy, his statements remains true and not misleading at all. Therefore, I submit that the case is effectively over. Of course, you're not going to hear that from CoinDesk. Now, there's so many people, because they're large Bitcoin holders out there, and they know that Tether has pumped up the Bitcoin price, which I believe part of the reason they've instituted these ETFs is so that when they, but possibly, I'm not saying they will, but they could pull the plug on Tether, which has been propping up the Bitcoin market, that it won't collapse the Bitcoin market. Maybe that's why they did the ETFs, folks. I don't know. But anyway, but there's a problem that still stands, to my knowledge, and as of a month ago it stands. I know because I'm going to play for you what the CEO of Tether said. It's not me guessing. It's not me fudding. I'm going to play you what he said. First, I'm going to play you what these guys said on the accounting podcast. This was, I think, a month or so ago right here. Watch this.
You mentioned Binance, so I'll bring up Tether. Tether is the top stablecoin in the world, supposedly linked one-to-one to the US dollar, although they've never gone through an audit. And Tether CEO Paolo Ardoino has expressed that none of the big four accounting firms are willing to audit the company due to potential reputational risks. I wonder why. Despite this, securing an audit from one of these firms remains a top priority for Tether. Tether has been saying for years that they want to do an audit, but they can't get one.
In other words, if they audit it, it's a no-win situation for them. So if they audit this thing, I mean, what they're scared about is if they go in there and audit it and something comes up bad, people could hang around their neck the collapse of the Tether market and then the Bitcoin market, and they don't want that. Too risky.
Isn't that hilarious?
That's crazy because there's guys like Biff Borgers that are out there. Like, you can find one of these audit firm mills and get it done.
And they don't even get like an audit, like a real audit from one of these mills. They get these attestation reports, which are even less than an audit. that don't really mean anything because it's just somebody looking at a screenshot. I mean, we don't even know what it is, but it could just be like me looking at a screenshot of something that they mocked up and then saying, oh yeah, that looks good. Let's just put this in perspective. They have never been audited, and their market cap of Tether USDT, the stablecoin, is over $109.5 billion. $109 billion, never audited. And people are trading this Tether saying it's backed 1-to-1 by US dollars, and they've never been audited. And who do you want to bet? David, do you want to, man, I wish I was a betting person because I can't imagine, I gotta believe that that 109 billion in US dollars is not there to back up Tether. We're just
Is this
trusting.
the next one going down, right?
I don't know. The last time that they got a report, they get these quarterly attestations, which are just agreed upon procedures engagements done by BDO Italia, which don't mean anything because liabilities are not presented. Oh, and by the way, Tether is technically not backed 1-to-1 by the US dollar because they lend out Tether. So as soon as you lend out Tether, you're a bank.
Yeah.
And banks are not 1-to-1 backed. So basically, the world's largest crypto bank has never been audited.
Okay. So this dominant guy replied, FUD, they have been audited. Okay. Well, so I went, because I think it's only fair that we we hear from the CEO himself, okay? Because what we've been seeing is there's a difference here. The word attestation and the word audit, accounting audits. So I went to Grok and I said, what's the difference between an accounting attestation and an accounting audit? Grok says, an accounting attestation is like a friend giving you a thumbs up to your outfit before a big date. It's a third party saying, hey, this looks legit based on what you told us. An accounting audit, on the other hand, is like a detective going through your entire wardrobe, checking receipts, making sure everything is on the up and up. It's a much more thorough investigation. So in short, the attestation is a light pat on the back, while an audit is a full body scan, okay? What the word attestation, every time I hear it, what it reminds me of is the financial crisis, because I remember talking to mortgage people, and I remember them saying, stated in, hey, well, the interest rate's this if you get a 30-year fixed loan or whatever, but if you go stated, it'll be a little higher. And I said, what? I remember saying, what does that mean, stated income? And I remember them basically saying to me, well, that just means that you're telling us what it is instead of showing us what the income is, and then you're signing off on it. So I wrote up here, the word attestation reminds me of stated income loans. Right before the bottom dropped out of the 2008 financial crisis, the mortgage lending frenzy got so crazy, they were more or less saying, we'll take your word for it on your income and ability to pay back a loan. And you know what happened next. And I want to make sure I stress this. I am not saying that Tether's not backed by what they say it's backed by. I'm saying, in Reagan's words, trust but verify. And to trust but verify, you need an accounting audit. All right. Now, this is the CEO. This is from a month ago. His name's Paolo something.
We changed, I think, heavily.
Words mean things. So what you're listening for is, does he say that they've been audited? Because this guy right here says FUD, they have been audited. Does he say audited or does he say attestation? And he says it more than once.
The last years, the amount of information that we publish, the way we managed our service is much more public. We were the first ones to come up with an attestation with a breakdown of the reserves showing how much we have in different things. We were subject to many critiques that we took well, and we applied to the company so that we could improve also our service. I'm sure you remember the commercial paper part. Although there were a lot of nonsense, like we had Evergrande and all the Chinese papers and so on, that was really stupid. But anyway, We proved that we could convert everything or almost everything in US T-bills. As of today, so the community was asking us to do changes, and we always listen to the community. We made these changes. As of today, I think we have, well, as the 31st of December 2023, we had $80.3 billion in US Treasury bills. That would put us at the 20th country in the world as owners of a US debt. And
by the way, there's no way on God's green earth that that's allowed to happen without the U.S. government either being a part of it or this being some three-letter agency operation.
When it comes, I think, to the 3 months Treasury bills owners, we are the third one as in terms of holdings. So the majority of our T-bills are all short terms, like within 90 days. And so nowadays, in the last attestation,
I don't think that the reason, he just said attestation again. Folks, by the way, I don't think that the reason that they don't want an audit has anything to do with whether they hold the stuff, to be honest. I think it has to do with who's been involved in Tether. I think that's what they're trying to hide, because I think it's probably three-letter agencies.
We published other numbers, like we had 5.2 billion on top of.
And you know what three-letter agencies do when they're involved in things like that? They use the money for all kinds of nefarious things.
100% reserves that are covering all the issued USDT tokens. So meaning that we had, Tether is making good money, right? In a quarter, we made almost $3 billion. And we could have dividended any other company, any other normal company. Imagine a bank that would make $3 billion in profit. Oh my God, they would distribute these profits left and right to all the shareholders up to the last cent. But
any bank would have been raided by now if they had that kind of money flowing through.
No, with Tether, we decided to keep the vast majority of these profits within the company, up to 5.2 billion as the last quarter.
He compared himself to a bank. So let me tell you what all this feels like and reminds me of. Reminds me of all the banks down in Miami in the 80s when the cocaine cowboy days were going on down there, and there were billions of dollars flowing through all the banks because of all the drug money was being laundered through the banks, and the banks were helping them do it. That's what this reminds me of. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm just saying, golly, that's what this sounds like.
So that Tether ended up in being 5.2 billion over collateralized. So of course banks are upset because banks are lending out 90% of their portfolio and their balance sheet, and Tether instead is doing the opposite. It's actually accruing more money and keeping it to show that you can build something that is safe. You can build a financial tool that is safe and doesn't need to lend out people's money. And so that's what I like about Tether, right? This ability of revolutionizing how some certain things.
Okay, in DAI XRP, here's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to tell you what I really think Tether is, and I got video to back it up. And there has been Bill Hinman's been missing in action. I found a Bill Hinman spotting. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you some other people we know that are right there hanging out. And in some of the shots, they almost look like they're keeping their distance. We'll go over that, and we'll talk a little bit about something interesting about Bill Hinman's law license. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that away we go.